Good evening, 9:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast in the United States of America. I'm T-Speaker222, and this is the ISO headquarters. This is where you find all of your ISO coin updates, technical analysis, and also I show you things that nobody else does, which includes the actual inner workings. And if you guys didn't watch the update the other day on the TC307, and just the ISO-20022 implementation through Ripple and the ecosystem and all the other stuff. It was in an update, I believe, yesterday. And this is from the white papers, Dutch Bank, Global Transaction Banking, and it's the guide to the ISO-20022 migration. And a while ago, when searching for the white papers, I found this PDF and I've saved it. Well, I never really had a chance and a way to share it, but now that I have my ISO headquarters, I think Kenny will really appreciate this. I think Ken's wife will appreciate this as well. I know a few of you other guys and gals that love the ISO will like this. So make sure to hit that like button. We just went over 300 subscribers today already, which I can't even believe that. Honestly, I can't believe it. We're at 307 subscribers. I believe it said. I was like, holy shit, how did we get to 307? We were just at 220 or 231, I believe, yesterday. So we had a hell of a push. So I appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the station as much as I am. So this is the ultimate guide to the ISO-20022 migration. And this is the Dutch Bank Global Transaction Banking. So forward, this is the watershed moment for the industry over the next 5 years. The world's primary payment market, and get familiar with PMIs, because that's the primary market infrastructures. And I've talked about it some on my Future Millionaire page, but most of the crowd has no idea what I'm talking about. Kenny does, and a few of you others do, but more of you need to understand. So this is a great spot to learn, educate, and be informed by more than just the technicals, because I actually study this in my everyday life. So the PMIs will undergo huge transformational change in response for increased automation and cost efficiencies, enhanced market integration, and real-time services. These PMIs lie at the heart of the financial system, providing infrastructure for high-value payments, real-time gross settlement systems, low-value payments, automated clearinghouses, and real-time retail payment systems. As part of the transformational change, major PMIs such as the Federal Reserve, yes, the Federal Reserve, the Clearinghouse, the Euro System, EBA Clearing Eurozone, and the Bank of England's RTGs UK will all modernize their high-value payment system, HVPS, almost simultaneously. Underpinning each of those modernization programs is the migration to the ISO-20022, widely recognized as the standard for the future. Indeed, ISO-20022 has already been introduced for HVPS in Japan, Switzerland, and China, and is established as the de facto standard in instant payment markets following implementation in Australia, US, Canada, and Singapore. SWIFT will also introduce ISO-20022 for cross-border payments with a view to phasing out existing payment messages. The migration as ISO-20022 lays the foundation for vastly improved payment processing efficiency and interoperability among HVPS. Its benefits are numerous from a customer experience and compliance perspective, as well as providing the capabilities to deliver new services. This journey, therefore, has far-reaching implications for all banks, corporates, and other important financial stakeholders. It is probably the most impactful payments industry undertaking since the introduction of the Single Euro Payments Area, SEPA, more than a decade ago, and will require CEO commitment, allocation of appropriate budget resources, and project teams, given that a multitude of areas will be affected across institutions. Senior management teams could also use this as a basis for reassessing existing business models. At the very least, they should consider redesigning substandard business processes. This is not simply another IT project. Our series of guides on this topic, produced in collaboration with PPI, aim to outline exactly what we can expect between now and 2025. That's why I put such stock into the year 2025, because by 2025, it's all going to be in. 2023, a lot of it implements. But we're not going to be able to go through all this today. But if I get enough feedback and you guys want me to keep going through the white papers, I am absolutely going to continue it. I'll probably do 10 or 15 minutes, or as long as I feel like reading. But this stuff is fascinating. So while ISO-20022 migration may, well, here's what this It is probably the most impactful payments industry undertaking since the introduction of SEPA, which we understand that. While ISO 20022 migration may at first appear to be technical and abstract, it will have far-reaching implications for banks, payment system, and processes. Of course, this is not the first initiative designed to further improve existing payment systems. We have seen numerous, so we know what SWIFT is. The migration to ISO 20022 for cross-border and interbank payments of major central banks, and that was in Australia and Asia, as well as SWIFT, global in scope. We already know about the payment processors, so they're the central banks. So that's just kind of like an introduction. So you got the summary of the management. International payments is a global network business in which at least 3, although usually more parties are involved. It goes without saying that harmonized standards and rules for the exchange of payment messages and data are therefore of paramount importance. Over the years, there have been a number of initiatives and organizations that have strived to achieve the standardization, yet the decision by major central banks and SWIFT to migrate to ISO 20022 signifies the biggest breakthrough to date. With a globally recognized standard, banks and their clients can effect payments for more efficiently and economically, accompanied by more voluminous and granular data. The result should be far greater customer satisfaction, improved digital fulfillment of compliance requirements, and faster, more flexible implementation of deployment of new services or regulatory requirements. However, making the most of ISO 20022 requires a significant and complex migration, affecting not just the core payments processing, but many other banking systems and departments. So we all know about the banking systems. We all know about all the nonsense. I've talked about this a lot. So let's go through here real quick. So now we go to the significance of 20022 migration. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, for published ISO 20022, a global standard for payment messaging in 2004. The standard creates a common language for payments data across the globe, enabling faster processing and improved reconciliation. Figures 1-2 showing ISO 20022 messages. So we got business components. We got it coming from the creditor transfer, the payment, the debtors, the creditor agents, and the debtor agent. Then you got the parties, financial institution, the account, and postal address. Then the message component containing message elements. It's got all the information, and all the information. It's just showing you all the settlement and everything else. So that's all the data that's within. That's all the key information. With the launch of SEPA, European banks were the first in the world to deploy ISO 20022 for mass payment transactions. So it all does correlate, ladies and gentlemen. Yet individual standards remain commonplace in many markets, with SWIFT messaging established as the common standard for cross-border payments, payment systems based on different standards. So there you go. So they kept SWIFT enacted, even though European banks had already implemented this years and years ago. That was a decade ago. So messaging established, blah, blah, blah. We have the cases and everything with SWIFT. The decision by central banks as well as SWIFT to migrate to ISO 20024 therefore marks a major breakthrough in standardization efforts. With global introduction, standards for cross-border payments, a common base. So this makes it commonplace. So these are the examples of what the code would look like, of the identification for the debtor agent, the account number of the debtor, and the name and contact details of the debtor. So that's what you'd be seeing. So not too uncommon to normal lingo. So why now? So the head of SWIFT standards remarked back in 2015 that even the best designed standards only take off if they meet real and immediate needs in the market. So the ISO, that moment has clearly arrived. So they're saying that it's time for globalization. The opportunities, we already know with the migration and the banks and all this other nonsense, but what is actually going on here? So why the ISO 20022? So the benefits identified by the industry: efficiency gains, increased efficiencies from a standardized and harmonized format of financial messaging, increased STP rates. So now we have cost savings, potential simplification of cost-intensive processes such as payment processing, investigating data and analytics, reporting, etc. Digital compliance, automated analytics for various compliance purpose, i.e. sanctions, screening based on structural information, new and improved services, enhanced customer satisfaction, from improved services for corporate clients addressing biggest pain points. So challenges identified by the industry: data truncation, potential data truncation during the coexistence period comes with a risk for all agents and frustration for the beneficiary. Intermediary service providers must be amongst the first movers to ensure full data delivery end to end. Implementation costs. Significant investments and resources required until it releases anticipated benefits. New operation mode. Operating mode to change to the V-shaped communication method. SWIP Y copy service will no longer be used. Industry-wide effort. Industry-wide consensus globally of market requirements and standards required. So reaping the benefits of the ISO will require a significant and complex migration process comparable to those completed for SEPA or the introduction of the euro. The impact extends beyond just core payments processing, touching everything from the booking systems to embargo and know your customer KYC systems to electronic banking liquidity management, or achieving in addition to impacting IT and payments. Numerous other areas such as securities, trade, finance, global markets, and treasury will also have to process the contained information and apply it elsewhere. This wide-ranging impact means it is crucial that ISO-20022 is firmly on board level 8 agendas. Due to the richness of the information, a simple conversion, while a tactical solution, is not recommended as long-term strategy. Instead, best practice would be to strategically restructure internal bank information flows in order to be equipped to fulfill the challenges of any upcoming regulations and account for differences in regional ISO 20022 migration projects. So then we've got significant and complex internal changes are on the horizon for banks. It is crucial, therefore, that senior management are aware of the magnitude of the project in terms of resources and budget, as well as the need to secure appropriate prioritization with existing external vendors. So, I mean, they're telling everybody, you better get on board, otherwise you're fucked. So the overall business implications beyond payment transactions, the number of transactions impacted, the bank's own participation is affected, market infrastructure, direct/indirect, whether the bank has its own indirect participants, whether the bank offers correspondent banking services, and if external providers are to be used as part of the service delivery. Not undertaking any action is in most cases simply not an option and would risk losing access to the central bank money, affecting liquidity management and the fulfillment of minimum reserve requirements. So it basically tells you either get on board or get the fuck out. That's what they're telling the banks. They're telling you, we're not going to help you. If you don't comply with the ISO, you're out. You're out of business. It goes across the board. That's the significance of this. The migration to ISO not only affects IT systems, for instance, but also business rules and process workflows. Here, special attention should be paid to individual businesses and operating models, as there are different implications for banks that are direct clearing participants as opposed to those that process payments via corresponding banking. These include communication methods and ISO 20022 usage guidelines, but also coverage to accommodate new operating hours. The IT migration will have an impact that goes far beyond core payments processing, affecting peripheral systems such as anti-financial crime applications, especially embargo/sanction screening, as well as AML systems, liquidity management, billing, accounting, reporting, nostril reconciliation, and archive systems. I mean, this is absolutely fascinating when you start to go through this, ladies and gentlemen. This is therefore not just a cash management product challenge. Everyone from top management to operations and to human resources will need to be involved. The following areas of an organization will be typically impacted: top management, transaction, banking, payments and securities, treasury, IT, process management, IT infrastructure, sales, relationship management, vendor management, operations, service, risk management, and legal. So this is the figure 5. It outlines what's going to go on. So supplier banks, clearing, SWIFT, EBIX, e-banking, mobile, internal systems, order acceptance, embargo, technical acceptance, functional and technical verification, conversion of format, enrichment of data. Then you got the preparation of data, preparation of format, payment static data, processing, job management, job processing, banking request, account number /IBAN, clearing, routing, creation of bank or bulk file, preparation of format, market data, order delivery, embargo, AML, fraud, internal booking, external booking, technical delivery, charging/billing, plus statement of account, storage, archive, enquiry, recipient, banks, clearing, SWIFT, EBIX, e-banking, accounts, internal systems. I mean, that's absolutely priceless information. So ISO contains substantially more data than conventional legacy formats, 2 or 3 times the amount. Banking infrastructure systems, database lines, etc. will need to be capable of processing these large data volumes and also at a faster speed for real-time payments, intraday liquidity management, compliance checks, and fraud detection and prevention. Given the significant impact on IT architecture, is the natural that some banks may consider workarounds. One possibility is the use of the so-called converter at the inlets, that's also the payment processing, or at the interfaces to to other systems in order to convert existing formats into ISO or vice versa. This approach, however, brings a number of risks and should be considered carefully in the context of its long-term implications. In particular, there is a concern that it would result in important information being lost in transmission, which in turn may mean a competitive disadvantage or compliance problem. So if you're not complying, they don't even care about the competitive disadvantage. The main word there is you have compliance problems and you get the fuck out. For banks operating globally or in multiple currency areas, there are additional challenges. There will be differences between the financial market infrastructure and their ISO specifications. Some may require certain data fields that others do not. And there are also regional or system-determined differences in terms of migration approach. So now we're going to go to the migration of global markets. So the ISO-200, and if you don't like how long this is, well, too damn bad. You need to hear it. Sit down. Pay attention. Light a joint if you have to. ISO-20022 is already the standard in certain currency areas and will be rolled out in the coming years in others. So we've got Canada planned to be determined. United States planned in 2020. Colombia live. United Kingdom 2022. Switzerland live. Eurozone 2021. Russia to be determined. Hong Kong 2021. China live. Belarus to be determined. Kosovo live. India live. Bangladesh live. Singapore 2021. Brunei live. Thailand 2020 planned with Malaysia as well. Japan live. So to say it's not happening is for some people to say that, it's absolutely appalling because it's happening and here's your white papers. The best you can get. Naturally, there is much focus on the intentions of the key currency reigns of the euro, US dollar, and sterling. Here the retrospective central banks have initiated migration projects and accordingly adopting one of three approaches: a one-step or big bang migration, a multiple-step or like-for-like migration, where data fields and messages are gradually moved over, a participant-related migration. So now Figure 7 outlines this. So we have SWIFT, we have Target, so we have US, UK, Europe, global, and then it starts top-down. SWIFT, Target, EBA clearing, FedWire, the clearinghouse. ISO for cross-border payments and specification in 2020. Then we have the developing phase, ISO guidelines, preparation phase, ISO specifications. 2021, we have user testing, introductory phase, legacy changes from November 20th. I keep telling you guys about that date, November. Go live in November 2021. 2022, 4-year coexistence phase, SWIFT Central Translation Service from Q3 2023. That's why I put in such stock in 2023, guys. There's that line right there. From Q3 2023, only structured address data for parties. Go live in 2022, ISO 2022 like for like plus 3 months. Stability phase, enhancement phase, ISO enhancement phase. So, and then the mature phase is 2024 and 2025. So we're far past implementation, guys. Now it's going, let's get the ball rolling here in 2022. 2021 in November is going to be huge. The ecosystem, or the Eurosystem Target 2, a RTGS system for the Eurozone Target instant payment settlement, a payment system for the processing of instant real-time payments, EBA Euro 1 operating on a multilateral net basis of RTGS equivalent large value, payment system that settles single euro transactions of high priority and urgency. It settles its end of day balances in central bank money via Target 2, EBA Step 2 for the processing of mass payments. This is a pan-European automated clearinghouse, PEACH. EBA RT1, a payment system for the processing of instant real-time payments that provides the European payments industry with a pan-European infrastructure platform for real-time payments in euro under the SEPA Instant Credit Transfer Scheme. So what's the vision? So we have the tips, the consolidation of Target 2, T2, and Target 2 Securities T2S, Eurosystem Collateral Management Systems, ECMS, going forward the services provided by the ecosystem. So we're going to look at it down here because we can read the nonsense, but basically this is what it is. Central Liquidity Management, T2S Security Settlement, RTGS High Value Payments, TIPS, Instant Payments. Then you got Common Reference Data, CRD, Shared Operational Services, Billing Schedule, etc., Data Warehouse, and Eurosystem Single Market Infrastructure Gateway. So then we've got the timeline for migration. So let's go through the timeline. So T2 consolidation project set up for December of 18. Internal adaptation assessment is started in March of 2019. Network service providers procured July of 2020. Completion of the software development for required adaptation changes to T2, CLMN, and RTGS, October 2020. Completion of the internal testing before end-to-end market testing, December 2020. Completion of network connectivity tests and ready to start the end-to-end market testing activities, March 2021. Completion of user testing activities, including community and dress rehearsals for the migration, March 2021. Or wait a minute. September 2021. We've got completion of contractual and legal adaptation, internal staff trained, completion of operational and adaptation, all September 2021. Ready to start migration, and as it happens, we're in September 2021. Ready to start migration activities on production environment, October 2021. Completion of migration activities, November 2021. And go live at T2, guys, and that's huge in November 2021. So we have a lot of stuff coming. So we already know why and whatever. We already talked about visions. I don't really care about the Fed. So phase 1, Big Bang implementation to accommodate swift MT changes to originator and beneficiary fields to prepare for and simplify the FedWire fund services migration to ISO-20022 messages. ISO like for like 18 months. Begins in Q1 2022. Phase 2, migrate FedWire fund service participants and waves over 18 months to send and receive ISO-20022 messages that have fields and character lengths that are comparable to the legacy format. The FedWire fund service will translate to legacy format to ISO and vice versa when necessary. The Fed will sunset legacy format at end of this phase. And then we've got stability period, 3 months. And then ISO enhancement Q4, Big Bang implementation to enable participants to send optional enhancements. That's why we've got to wait, guys. It's not just going to all happen. So we already know about all this. And I know this has been a very long update. So if I have anybody left, we talked about this. We talked about this. Make sure to hit that like button. I just want to go through a few more of these diagrams. We're almost done. Figure 11, UK migration to ISO 20022. So phase 1, publish final ISO message schema for use in CHAPS. Phase 2, introductory phase, migrate to ISO and CHAPS on a like-for-like basis. Introduce an optional closed user group in CHAPS for direct participants who wish to exchange enhanced data early amongst others in the same position. Enhancement phase, phase 3, require all CHAPS direct payments participants to migrate to the enhanced ISO message. Mature phase, phase 4, update CHAPS scheme rules to mandate certain additional data on CHAPS payment messages. So we have the formats. There's your figure. So that breaks down SWIFT to the ISO format. We have M2101, request for transfer, which goes to a pain.001. And this is all the stuff that switched over. I'm not going to read through it all, but that's, you can see it. Take a picture real quick if you want. That should be plenty of time. And then the working groups. We've got, so we've got August 2016. So we're way past that. But this is an important part. So we've got Payments Market Practice Group, SWIFT, established the Cross-Border Payments and Reporting plus CBPR plus group in order to develop global usage guidelines for the exchange of cross-border payments and reporting in the correspondent banking ecosystem. These will be published on SWIFT's web application by standards and serve as basis for the central conversion service made available for SWIFT during the coexistence phase. PMPG will further implement or complement the toolbox with the publication of special market practices for cross-border payments. As a result of client demand for global multi-bank coordination, the Common Global Implementation Market Practice CGI-MP initiative was launched as a forum for banking associations, corporates, business associations, and market infrastructures. CGI/MP's aim is to ensure multiple bank standardized and global ISO 20022 XML implementations in the corporate to bank business areas. Then we got move first, move fast. We're just going to barely touch on this. So for a mid-sized bank, the ISO migration project can result in a high 4-digit outlay in terms of project working days. With larger banks, the outlay is likely to be even higher. The ISO migration project is therefore the payment industry's greatest challenge since the introduction of the euro, but also its greatest opportunity. So the connections to the prospective infrastructure, direct/indirect, be maintained or adapted? What are the consequences and risks associated with the respective changes? Should the migration be carried out in numerous steps, or should as much as possible be performed in one single step? The T2 and Swift migration could, for example, be managed in a single project with a deployment close to each other. So it's basically talking about the risk of having basically a clusterfuck, putting it all together. Or if we're going to do it step by step, let's go to something more important. So the Treasury. So this is the regions. So Germany, Spain, Portugal, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Italy, and Luxembourg. So we have the cross divisions steering committee. So we have the chair program sponsor GTB, Treasury PCB/Postbank, Wealth Management Division, Divisional Control Office, Technology and Operations, Compliance, AFC, Legal, etc. Chair Program Manager, Treasury Workstream, Lead WL PCB Postbank, CIB TX Processing and Connectivity WL, PCB TX Processing and Connectivity WL, EML Liquidity Manager WL, T2S WL, EBA and FMI Cash Settlement WL, etc. Then we come down here, Central Team Project Managers, after we get past the Cross-Divisional Steering Committee, Operating Committee. Now we got the Treasury, the Treasury, Review Treasury, Operating Model, Change Central Bank Account Setup, New Liquidity Management Tools, Interaction with Central Bank, New Euro System, Collateral Management System, November 2022. ELM Liquidity Manager, Account Handling, Liquidity Transfers, SOD/SCD Procedures, Payment Formats, A2A Connectivity Interface to Internal Messaging Systems. And then we've got the CIB, which is what I just read, but as part of the CIB GTB Transaction Processing, Prepare for Future Target RTGS ISO, New Messaging Formats, Payment Product Reviews, the aforementioned, AFC Functions, Sanction, Screening and Embargo Filtering, Transaction Monitoring and Surveillance Controls, PCB Transaction Processing, PCB/PFK, Prepare for the Future Target RTGS ISO, New Messaging Format, and somehow I just went way the hell up there. Gotta love it. So, and then we got, let's see, Ancillary Systems and T25, Ancillary Systems, FM Cash Settlement, Account Setup Change, and Adjusted Settlement Procedure, EBA Clearing, Account and Format Changes for EBA Clearing Business. We've got the T2S, Change of the Funding, Messages, Maintenance, Windows, Liquidity Sources, CIB DCA Consolidation, Automated Cash Forecasting for Security Settlement, T25 Auto Collateralization, Target Service to Access Financial Message System for the common components, choose a network service provider and establish access, assessing target services via new MIG, Target Common Reference Data Management, new interface. So then the future editions. So our next edition, so that was, I hope this helped, guys. This was a very, 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 very important update, probably the most important one I've done. We take, for anybody who's left, I want to thank each and every one of you. I hope you hit that like button. This is going to be over a 30-minute update. It's the most important one I've ever done on the ISOs, so I really hope you appreciate what I've just done here. I just wanted to take a look at Bitcoin so we can see what's going on. Bitcoin was moving a little bit, that's why I wanted to look. And it's the same thing as yesterday. We kind of had this move up. Could we come up a little bit more? Sure. But we just have to be careful because we're having these moves. But as we can see, once again, hold on, get to my indicator. So let's see how much, and it's the 8 o'clock flip, guys, just like yesterday. We seem to have these little moves on the flip. So like I told you guys yesterday, let's wait. Let's see what's going on here. Because we certainly had a little bit of a volume spike here. But I feel like this is going to be more of a trap for what's to come tomorrow with the Black Swan and all this other nonsense that people are talking about. So if you appreciated what I did here, make sure to hit that like button. We'll do a further update later on, but this is for the ISO. I went through the white papers, and I really hope you guys appreciated what I did. Make sure to check out my video description below for my Twitter, my Swing Traders Anonymous, or my XRP Future Millionaire Partner page if you appreciate what I did here and you want to get some more content. Other than that, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new or returning, turn that bell notification to all, because all the content I put out is FUD free, and it's up to the minute, up to date, and it's very, very valuable.